Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a raised bed garden. We priced these online and they were around $200 a piece for something similar. I was able to make these for about $60 each. To start with, you'll get you some 4x4s and cut them 2 foot in length. Then get you some corrugated tin and attach it on each end and in the center. I use some screws that have a little bit like tip on the end that helps to get them started through the metal. It made it a lot easier to screw it through that sheet metal. Once you get one piece done, you just do the same thing again. And once you have both sides screwed down, then take and cut you a piece of tin that is 2 foot in length. If you want it wider than 2 foot, you could go more, but I decided to just have mine to be 2 foot wide. And you just attach it to the 4x4s on the other piece. And then you attach another piece to the other end. Now my wife is pointing out all the places where I missed screws. And it's very lightweight at this point, so you can easily move it around. Then I took some old garden hose that wasn't any good anymore and I cut it in some 8 foot lengths, and I'm planning on putting that around the top edge of the tin so that there's not a sharp edge there, so that way you won't cut yourself, or your plants won't be damaged if the wind blows them back and forth against that sharp edge. So this will kind of kill that edge. So now I'm cutting some 2 foot pieces to put on the ends. So now I need to make a groove down the bottom of it so it'll fit over the tin. I tried to cut it with a box cutter knife, but that didn't work. The knife kept wanting to slide off to the side, and I couldn't keep the knife going in a straight line. And so I figured the easiest solution would be just raise the saw blade up just a little bit on the table saw and just cut a groove in it, and that worked very well. The push stick there that I'm using, if you do any woodwork, I would suggest you making you a push stick like this. I'll put a link in the description below to a video that shows you how to make this. It's not my design, it's not my video, but I really enjoy using this push stick, and he has a video that explains to you how to make it, and he's got links to the pattern. So I would check that out if you're a woodworker and you would need you a good push stick. This one works very well. So now I'm just ripping the 8 foot pieces. So now I got all the pieces with a groove ripped in them. So now I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle on the end of each piece. This way I can join them together on the corners. So I just take each piece and just cut one end of it at this point. And I'm cutting the 8-foot pieces. I'm cutting 2 sets as I go, so you may notice I'm cutting more than needed for one bed. Now I'm going to measure the exact length that I need, and I'm going to cut the angle in the opposite direction. And I'm going to use the same piece I just cut as a pattern to mark the rest of them. If you're going to use a piece that you previously cut as a pattern, you need to make sure you use the same piece every time, or by the time you finish, your project will be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. If you're not measuring and you're just using a pattern, it's important to make sure you use the same pattern every time. Now I'm going to measure the 8-foot piece. And I'll use that piece as a pattern to mark the rest of them. After I finished that, I 3D printed me some little elbows to go on the corners so that there won't be any sharp corners to be cutting you or poking you. This little angle piece has a groove made into the bottom of it so that it will fit right down over the tin. You can see the groove there, and it just fits right over the tin. Then I can take my garden hose, slide it right up over the tubing, and it fits just like that. And I did that same to all corners. Then I wanted to brace the inside of it in the center. So I had some old pieces of PVC pipe, and I just screwed them on the bottom on one side and attached the other end to the top on the other side. This will prevent it from bowing out in the center once you fill it up with soil. Now to keep from having to fill it up with so much soil, we fill the bottom of it up with some sticks and tree limbs and different things like that, just to kind of take up some of the space in the bottom of it. You can put milk jugs full of water in the bottom to help take up some of the space as well. But after we filled the bottom up with some sticks and things, then we put some hay out of our barn that needed to be cleaned out anyway, but you could use leaves or pine straw or whatever. And we put a bunch of that in there and wet it down so that it'll settle. And once it settles, we'll top it off with some topsoil or either some potting soil, and then it'll be ready to plant. And eventually, over time, all this wood and straw will rot away and create more good soil for the plants to use. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, hit that subscribe button below and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.